there's a short life. And
why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take. You're going through so much to try and deal with life.
Stevie J, the usher part, that's a touchy situation.
Hollywood's dark underbelly has long been whispered about, but what Terence Howard recently unveiled shook the industry to its core. Picture this: a world fame and fortune come with a price far greater than money or status, a price that demands a piece of your very soul. In a gripping and unfiltered interview, Howard pulled back the curtain on a chilling encounter with Sean Diddy Combs, shedding light on the hidden truths that lurk behind the glitz of Tinseltown. What he revealed wasn't just shocking, it was a stark glimpse into a world built on betrayal and silent contracts that bind its biggest stars. Buckle up. This isn't just another Hollywood headline. This is the story they never wanted you to hear.
You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. But when you lose your
Terence Howard, the acclaimed actor, known for his powerful performance on both the big screen and television, has never shied away from speaking his truth. But in a recent revelation, he exposed a side of the entertainment industry that many only speculate about. According to Howard, what began as a seemingly innocent invitation from Sean Diddy Combs to discuss acting techniques, music, and possible creative collaborations, soon took what should have been a professional meeting quickly spiraled into something far more unsettling. Howard described an eerie, off-kilter atmosphere that left him deeply uncomfortable. As he reflected on the encounter, it became clear that this wasn't just a casual sit-down. It was something far more calculated, something that hinted at the darker rituals and silent expectations embedded deep within Hollywood's elite circles.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to be the man. Man don't take it, man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I'm saying what I'm saying.
Terence Howard revealed that even before things escalated, his assistant had pulled him aside with a quiet but urgent warning. He's trying to, The message was clear. Diddy's intentions might not be as innocent as they appeared. That moment shifted everything for Howard. Trust shattered. He immediately cut off all communication, refusing to be drawn into what he later described as a manipulative and unsettling game. But while he walked away physically, the psychological impact of that meeting lingered. Howard began to wrestle with deeper questions about the industry he had long been a part of, an industry that, in his words, often demands more than just talent or hard work. He spoke passionately about a principle he calls the man card, a symbol of one's integrity, dignity, and true self. And once that card is handed over, Howard warned, there's no reclaiming it. To him, keeping that card is the ultimate act of resistance in a world built on quiet compromises and unspoken expectations.
That was all the people that went to the puffin parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire. You should have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you know fluid.
The concept of losing one's man card might seem abstract to some, but Terence Howard breaks it down. In painfully clear terms, he believes that when individuals sacrifice their values, whether for fame, fortune, or survival, in Hollywood's ruthless landscape, they lose something essential within themselves. A man doesn't take, a man gives, Howard said. underscoring the profound spiritual cost of surrendering one's integrity. Howard went on to reflect on the many rising stars he's seen in Hollywood who spiraled into despair after making compromises to advance in their careers. "You can't get it out of your head," he said, lamenting how those choices haunt individuals, no matter how hard they try to bury them. This constant psychological burden, Howard suggests, is why so many self-destruct under the weight of their decisions. He pointed to tragic figures like Philip Seymour Hoffman and Heath Ledger, implying that the moral compromises and crushing pressures of Hollywood may have played a role in their untimely deaths. Although Howard refrained from delving into specific details, his message was unmistakable. The entertainment industry has a brutal way of breaking people down, leaving them to cope with the emotional wreckage alone. And then came the bombshell. Howard boldly linked these struggles to Diddy's infamous parties, events that have long been surrounded by rumors and whispers about their dark, unspoken nature. The implication was clear. These events might be more than just social gatherings, with a far darker side to the industry's power dynamics.
I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their
These gatherings, often referred to as freak-offs by those who are familiar with them, have long been the subject of speculation. For years, Diddy's parties have been known as a high-profile magnet for celebrities, socialites, and industry elites. On the surface, they appeared to be nothing more than lavish celebrations of wealth and success. However, Howard's account paints a far darker picture of what truly happens behind closed doors. He described these events as environments where individuals were often drawn into compromising situations, frequently under the influence of substances or the tantalizing promise of career advancement. For Howard, the experience left an indelible mark. Once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from, he said, alluding to how these gatherings erode a person's moral compass, leaving them lost and vulnerable. According to Howard, these parties weren't just about indulgence. They were a method of stripping away the integrity and self-respect of those involved, leaving them adrift in an industry that demands more than just talent. It demands conformity. The more you uncover, the darker the stories get. Howard hinted that Diddy's parties were far from just